What's up, guys? Eric here, and today is a video all about PSA Pokemon, because I know a lot of you have questions about PSA and what to look for, and I want to get a 10. How do I get a 10? I'm gonna take you through some of the steps that I use to see if it's gonna be a 10 or not, or what I can gauge. And don't get me wrong, this isn't 100%, because I have thought cards were gonna be a 10 and they were a 9 or an 8, and I'm like, oh man, what happened? But I'm going to give you a little in-depth look, a little trial and error here, at some older cards, some newer cards, and what to look for, and what I think personally is going to be a PSA 10, what's not going to be a PSA 10, how I pack them, and if you guys want a video on how to actually send them out to PSA, let me know, drop a comment below, and I will make another video separate for the actual submitting of the cards. Some people don't like to submit cards. Some people, I actually send cards out for my friends, because a membership is like $300, I think, for a premium membership. So if you're only going to send out like a couple cards here and there, you might as well find like a middleman, kind of like one of your friends who does it, and just pay him and have him ship them out. But you're still going to have to get the cards ready for him, and you're still going to have to look at the cards in depth to see what is going to be a 10 and what is not. Let's go ahead and crack into these packs that we're not opening. Okay, we're just gonna show you some PSA stuff and what to look for. So right now, guys, here we go. We've got some older cards right here. All right, I wouldn't send any of these to PSA because I'm gonna get into that in a moment here. This card is a newer card. It's an XY series. Wouldn't send this to PSA as well, and I'm gonna explain why I wouldn't send that out. All right, and then here we have a brand new Hidden Fates Decidueye that I pulled recently. And I am absolutely going to send this to PSA because I have no doubt in my mind this is a PSA 10. And I'm going to tell you exactly how I got to that conclusion. So first things first, right? I'm going to show you one of these older cards and what you want to look for, right? Well, what PSA is going to be looking for is the corners, the edges, the centering, and the surface. So what I mean by surface, okay, is the front or the back. And now, let me see if I can focus this here. Let's see here, I might have to change the camera view. There we go. Have to use this camera view for you guys. Alright, so what I mean by surface is the hologram right here. See, there's some scratch marks on it? Those little minor scratches right there are going to cost you. That's definitely going to, you know, this one isn't so bad. It's actually pretty clean. There's only a few scratches on it. But that's going to cost you maybe a 9 on surface for this. And now you got to look at the rest of it, the rest of the card. Also, you're going to want a high intensity light, because if you look at it in regular light, you're not going to be able to see that well. You're going to want to get some kind of high intensity light. And I will send links to everything that I point out in this video, guys. I'm going to send links to it. So don't worry, I'm going to drop links below. You can get a high intensity light with a magnifier. That's what I use, and I'll send a link to that. Any kind of high intensity light, you're going to want to look at the card from an angle and get the light on it just right. You know what I'm saying? Then after you look at the surface of the front and the back, okay, now this card in the back, you can see right here, there's a crease right here. I don't know if you, let me see if I can get an angle. There you go. See that crease right there, guys? That crease is instantly going to drop it down to a 6, instantly. Now, that's for surface, okay, if there's any stains on it, any scratches on the surface, you can kind of see there's a couple stains. It looks like there's a little bit of a staining right there. I don't know if you guys can see that. I hope you guys can see that, alright? So that covers surface. Alright, now, what you're going to look for is centering. So now centering, see the border of the card, this yellow border? You want to see how centered this is. Now the centering on this card is pretty bad, because if you look at the bottom here, right? The bottom is thicker than the top. Alright, so I don't know how well you guys can see that, but the bottom is definitely thicker than the top. The front of this card isn't so bad on centering at all. It's really not bad at all. The back is the same. The bottom is thick and the top is smaller than the bottom. So that's going to cost you a little bit. I don't think that, if this card was flawless in every other aspect, I think you would get a PSA 10 if there was no wear. And now we're going to talk about the edges and the corners, okay? So the edges and the corners are basically all around the outside of the card. Now you're going to see that we've got whitening right here, okay? Whitening right there. And that's like a little bit of a, and that's pretty bad whitening too. Now, when you look at edges, you want to look at it flat on, and you want the edge to be, see, these edges aren't bad. you want the edge to be like, you can see, oh, you can see on the bottom of the card, see the edges is like frayed out a little bit. Oh, it's kind of tough to see, guys, but trying to get it. But look, see the edge right there, how it's like frayed up a little bit? There you go. Look at that edge. That's a busted edge right there. The whole edge of the card. That's a busted up edge right there. So that's going to cost you. This card I don't think is going to get, it's going to get a 5 or below for sure. All right, there's also silvering, what they call in the front of the card. You'll see over here there's some silvering. That is going to cost you as well. These are more in the older cards. There's not really much silvering in the newer cards, unless it's like a newer hollow like this. You'll get some bleeding on the sides, but that won't cost you. That wonst cost you a PSA 10. You can still get a PSA 10 if it's like faintly showing through, because a lot of the cards just have that. It's part of the hologram. So this card, this I wouldn't send. This is definitely a PSA 5 or below. The older cards are tough because, you know, they're vintage cards and they get banged up easily, and even out of a pack, any card, newer cards, older cards, they could be a PSA 8, just fresh out of the pack. So older cards are harder to grade. Now, one really, really important thing, guys, I want to say is, when you're sending out older cards, you know, XY cards or newer cards, you want to send them out together. So what I mean by that is, you want to send all the older cards out in one batch. You don't want to send like this. I don't want to send this. Let's say I have a mint condition muck. I don't want to send this muck with this Dialga, because this card is newer. So already the aging of the cardboard, because it's cardboard, is going to show on this card more than it is this card. So it's the person grading your cards is going to see this and go, oh, look at this. This is nice. And then this is the standard for a 10. Let's say it gets a 10. Now this might get a 9 because it's a little bit older and a little more worn out a little bit. You don't want to send old cards and new cards together. Also, if you want to send a Japanese card in, you don't ever send Japanese card with English cards. Japanese cards tend to have immaculate centering, and they just have a better grading, in my opinion. With Japanese cards, I think Japanese cards grade better. The cards I feel like are made a little bit better. So never send Japanese cards. Always send it, you know, try to send in the same era. So if you want to send a bunch of Skyridge, send it out with a bunch of Skyridge and things that are like a year apart from Skyridge. Let's say you want to send Hidden Fates, send Hidden Fates with any of the Sun and Moon series, send that together. X and Y, you could probably squeeze X and Y and Sun and Moon together because they're both relatively new. Try not to go too far, though. You don't want to send Neo Genesis with Hidden Fates. It's not going to go good for you. So try to keep them apart. What I'm going to go over now, I'll look at a newer card now. Now you're probably looking at this card, oh, this is new. It's pretty nice. There's actually, I've looked at this card thoroughly. There is nothing really on the front, nothing really wrong with the front of this card. The front of this card is actually flawless. What happened with this card is the back of it. Now, the centering isn't terrible on this card, okay? You can see right here, the centering's not that bad. This side is a little bit smaller than this side. So what I mean by that is it's a little skinnier, and this border is a little bit thicker. And I'm talking about the blue border now, for anyone that is not following me. The centering is based on the border and where it fits in the border, okay? So this centering isn't perfect. And that's the first thing I look at too, by the way, is I look at centering, because it's the first thing that really stands out is how centered the card is. And it's an easy tell, like, okay, this isn't gonna get a 10 because the centering's way off. And you can't, the centering's off, you're gonna have to just eat that one and not send it out. So now for this card, I'm gonna see if I can show you guys. There's an indent. You guys can definitely see it. There's an indent in a tiny little dent. Looks like someone took like a pen or something and just boop, popped it, right? So right there. See that little dent right there? That's going to cost you. That's going to be an instant 6 or a 7. Immediately off the bat. Any kind of indentations or crease is an instant 6 or 7. So you can't send this card. Alright, so now this Decidueye is actually flawless. I just spit on it. I just wipe the spit off. Okay. This Decidueye is absolutely flawless. Okay, this is a flawless card. The centering on the front is amazing. The centering on the back is rather amazing as well. It's relatively centered. If anything, it might be a little bit bigger on the top than the bottom. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to show you how I get this ready to send to PSA right now. So what I'll do is I use these Ultra Pro card sleeves, okay? You can buy these on Amazon for really cheap. I'll send a link down below. So what I'll do is put one of the, and I'm not one of those weirdos who puts gloves on. I'm sorry, I don't put gloves on. I'm not doing surgery. I just don't do it. Some people do. They think the oil on your hands. I don't know. I've sent plenty of cards in with my bare hands. I'll wash my bare hands, yeah, but... And I've gotten PSA 10s left and right with my hands. So if you want to get crazy and you're like a freak with it, then that's fine. What I'll do is now, I'll buy these little tab things. This way it's easier for the person to pull it out of what I'm going to put it into next. It's a rigid card sleeve. So I'll pull one of these tabs off, right? And boom. I'm going to stick it right on here in the center. Bam. This way, you're going to see why next. Now these, I recommend these. Let me zoom out for this. Alright, I'll leave a link to these below as well. You put these in here, and this is how you're going to send it to PSA in one of these bad boys. The rigid card sleeves. So, let me stay zoomed out because we're not looking at the imperfections of the cards anymore. So we have more space to work with here. I'm using an iPhone 10 or 11, whatever the newest one is. I'm not hip with it. Whatever the newest phone is, I'm using that, so it's easy to zoom in and out in case you guys are curious. Alright, so now what I'll do is I'll just slide it in nicely, right? Just get it in there with my thumb, pat it down very, very gently. Boom. Now, it sits in there nice, and when the grater comes to grate it, instead of like trying to dig in there for it, boom, just easily pulls the tab right out, and it comes right out. You follow me? So that is how I get my cards ready to send to PSA. Now, the next step, what I will do is, like let's say a lot of my friends, they're going to be watching this and they're going to want to know how to pack the cards to send to me so I can send them out to PSA because they're not trying to spend $300 on a subscription to PSA. This is basically what I'm going to do. Get these cards out of the way here. Now, these are a bunch of Japanese cards I have all together already ready to go. So as you can see, they're all packaged the same way I just told you with the tabs and all that stuff, yada yada yada. What I'll do now is I will take a Ziploc bag, a half-gallon Ziploc bag, right? Like this, like so. I will put them in a Ziploc bag because I don't want them getting wet at all in any way, shape, or form. That's not happening. I don't know. Maybe the mailman is drinking coffee and boom, spills it on your package. Oopsies. Whatever happens. Tsunami, earthquake, pores, who knows? My cards are in a Ziploc bag. They ain't getting wet. That's for sure. So I'll just seal it up. Try to get all the air out of it if I can. Boom. Alright. Now that's sealed. Fold it up like this. Fold it up like this. Right. Now what I'll do is, I got rubber bands. I'll take a rubber band, toss it around, just loop it twice. I don't want it to put too much pressure on the cards. Right. Rubber band. Boom. Boom. Now if you want to get crazy, you can bubble wrap it even. With like a small bubble wrap sleeve, depending on the box you want to use. Oh, by the way, the minimum is 25 cards, guys. 25 cards, $10 a pop. PSA raised the price. It used to be 8. Now it's 10. For 100 cards, if you're sending in 100 cards like I do with a clip, I use a bigger box, and I'll put it in. I'll put them all inside of here because this fits about like 150 cards, and I'll put them in here when I send mine out. So if you're going to send it out in bulk, that's the way to go. And you know, if there's space in there, you can use some of these things to like, you know, make sure there's no space so the cards aren't wobbling around in there. So you can toss these in there as well. You can get all this foam stuff on Amazon. I will send some links down below for you guys. So what I'll do is I'll throw it in here, right? That's good enough. So now it's all packaged up, and now you can use, if you're sending 25 cards, you can use one of these priority mail or small package, right? Just fits in there perfectly. Put some more bubble wrap even if you want to. Put some of those foam pieces in there so it doesn't shake around. Boom. Print the label, put it on. Boom! Send it out. So that is how you send cards to PSA, guys. Or send cards to a friend who has a PSA membership, and they can literally just take the package. If it's packed like that, you can let them know you packed it like that. Tell him the cards that are in it, and he can just slap a label right on it. Because you're going to have to let them know what cards are in it, though, if you do. If you don't want to have to take it out of this, all packaged nicely, you're going to have to send him every single card that's in there. Because on PSA, you have to fill out a form, right? And you have to put the cards that are in there on the form. So, yes, if you guys want a video on how to submit to PSA, actually, like, I'll show you the step-by-step instructions on the computer, drop a comment below and let me know, and I can definitely do that. We'll do a part 2 series of this. But that is just the packaging and getting ready for PSA and what to look for. I hope that helps, guys. I wish you guys the best of luck on your PSA adventures. I'm telling you right now, PSA is like a total, like a new, it's like opening another pack. Because you open that box of PSA cards and like, oh my god, what am I going to get? What am I going to get? It's like opening a pack again. And this video is for anyone across the board. If you like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball Z, sports cards, anal, whatever you're into, I don't judge. So, that's it. That's it, guys. Drop a comment, thumbs up if this was informative, and any questions you have below that I did not answer, down below, and I will be glad to answer it. Team GX, out.